Final thoughts, folks, on the last 7 or so days. Well, 9 days it probably is now, at Manchester United. After the debacle, that was the defeat yesterday, the Derby defeat. As many will be aware, the ones that I watched a couple of videos that I did, I'm now saying that Eric's tenure is very, very rocky. And I've always been his backer, when he got rid of Ronaldo, in his camp fully. With what I've heard about Sancho, I'm in Eric's camp fully. I think he's a great coach. I thought he was, and I want him to do well. I want him to do well for United. I want him to be there many a year. But the things I've seen this last week or so, and the things I've heard, really, really worry me. As I said, I think yesterday it was, I think he deserves, say, 6 more games, and if he doesn't turn a corner, he needs to be gone. My worry is, who's out there? Who is out there to replace him? They've tried some superstars and they've not worked. But after listening to more and more on the radio this morning and also this evening, I've got another couple of things that I'd like to bring to the party. As I said, after the game over the weekend, I heard something on TalkSport that amazed me for those that haven't heard it. When one of Ten Hag's backroom staff was asked by a reporter or a pundit, how do you go on at half time when they're playing badly? Does Eric really lay into them? Because I don't see much of a difference in the second half. And the backroom staff, the other coach said, no, he doesn't shout. There's no shouting. None of us do. We're not allowed to. In Eric's eyes, once you start shouting at a player, you've lost that player. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't subscribe to that kind of way of thinking. I don't at all. I wouldn't have been able to keep my hands off some of them players on Sunday at half time. They would have definitely come out with a bee in the bonnet second half, no doubt about that. That's one thing. Number two, I mean, I was thinking to myself when I heard that, I thought, why don't he get Roy Keane in as his number 2 and let Roy Keane loose? I know the modern footballers don't put up with it anymore, but they need someone to grab them by the lapels and shake them up. They really, really do. Number 2, it does look to an extent like he's lost the dressing room, in that nobody seems to be playing for him. They're really not. Nobody's working really, really, really hard and running hard. Number 3, the Bruno Fernandes, is the big conjecture now, should he lose the captaincy or not. I've loved Bruno. I have absolutely loved him. The play acting, the arm throwing, I don't like. I've said it in the past. Bruno has been a cheat for many a year, and I don't like to see it. Many others cheat, but Bruno is a champion at it. He's always throwing his arms around. He's always diving on the floor. You look at him a certain way and he's diving on the floor. You don't even have to touch the fella. It's crazy. I don't want my captain at Man United moaning and complaining all the time, but more importantly, throwing himself on the floor. It doesn't look good. It's not a great thing to set with the other players, but at the end of the day, the way I see it is, if he's on the floor, writhing around when there's nothing wrong with him, he's not helping my team. The team that we're playing can go away and go and score at the other end. What's Bruno doing laying on the floor? Absolutely nothing. And when we realise it's play acting, it's even worse. So unless he changes his ways, yes, he isn't captain material. As somebody said today on the phone, who do you put as captain though? It's going to be difficult. I would suggest if he comes back fully fit, Martinez would probably be the one. I would suggest he's got the right kind of work ethic and he puts himself about. I might be wrong on that score, but he would probably be the one for me. At the moment, yes, we're battling. We're battling with injuries, battling really badly, and we'll need them all back. With the full team and a full squad, we may well turn a corner. I think we may get better. But you do have to question lots of the tactics there. You really do. I couldn't believe he took Amrabat off at half-time for Mount. Couldn't. When I see with only minutes to go, we're relying on Anthony and Martial, it worries me. Martial, as I've said in the past, or Iggy to my mind, he's crap. He offers absolutely nothing. Anthony offers something. Yeah, he offers a curling shot in the far corner. That's all he's got. That's his stock in trade. As well as that, he runs down blind alleys, takes much too many touches, never knows when to pass the ball, and often gets caught with the ball at his feet. He's created nothing. £80 million worth of nothing at this moment. Takes us then to transfers. Been absolutely awful. It can get better, but at the moment it's been awful. Let's hope it improves. It needs to. It really, really needs to. For me, he's got to get the squad back. He's got to get the squad back, but then he's got to really put the right people in the right holes and find a way of playing. Because the Eric Ten Hag of last year and the team were fine. I thought we were on our way. I thought with a good transfer window, we may have done something this year. It's not been looking like a great transfer window, number one. We don't look to be on our way. We don't look to be doing it at all. And the biggie for me, and this is why I've heard this last message, I mentioned the last 7 to 9 days at Manchester United. After Sir Bobby dying, we have 3 chances to turn a corner and use Bobby's death and the warmth in which he's held and the love that he's got and the passion that he had for our club to install something into our players so they go out and run through a brick wall. It didn't happen. Over the 3 games, we've grabbed 6 points. If you look at the Champions League as well, you get points there. We've grabbed 6 points. That can look good on the outside, but we've played absolutely crap in all 3 games. And I do mean that. For all there's been 2 victories there, we've played crap in all 3 games. If I take the best points away from each game, and I mean the best points from each game, I don't think there's one good performance in there. That's how poor we've been. We desperately need to turn a corner. Can we do it with Eric? For me, the next 6 games will tell us. I always thought he was the one. He was going to turn a corner with us. I thought we're on our way. We've gone backwards, we've regressed. But what I will say is this. A year or 2 ago, all the pundits on Sky were saying there's a lot of bad apples, a lot of rotten eggs in there. They need wheedling out. And they've got rid of people like Pogba and others of that ilk. They've still kept Martial, the old face on the floor guy. But anyway, they've got rid of Pogba and a few others. They're getting rid of Sancho now, who I believe is a big I am and loves himself there, but doesn't do it on the pitch. But the thing is this, there might not be no revolt against Eric, they might not be calling him in the press and they might not be turning him as such, but they're certainly not playing for him, which tells me again there's problems within that playing staff. So getting rid of Ten Hag, how does it change it? Who's to say them players, if there are problems, and there looks to be, looking on from the outside, who's to say they're going to play for the next coach? When does it end? When does it end? You know, as I said only yesterday, I mean, I'd be looking at dropping Bruno and Rashford because they need shaking up and bringing the kids in. Some of them kids will run through a brick wall, especially old Hannibal. Hannibal never stops and he's snapping at your heels and everything. Maybe that's a bit of what's needed today for a game or 2. And then bring the guys back in and say, look, that's what you've got to attain to. Do what these young lads are doing. Do what these young lads are doing and your place is going to be safe. Because at the moment, the superstars of the team just aren't doing it. And if the superstars don't do it, everybody else follows in my mind. We need Rashford and Fernandes to start doing the job. No more of this not running, not trying, not working. No more of this throwing their arms in the air, falling over and complaining and having a face on them. Get a smile on the face, start working hard, start being productive. The rest of the team may just follow and we might at last turn that corner.